happening right now.
We're going.
We're going.
We're Ashley.
It's doing him for Ashley.
I'm sorry, everyone. We're Ashley. Give me my spinel. I'm Ashley. Oh. Yeah, she doesn't want to go that way. Well, I guess that works.
Oh, I need to post the link to my Twitch and not a picture of of Jimmy saying it's Squat Cobbler.
It's just Squat Cobbler. I did see that incident going on, but I didn't.
It was very funny.
Holy shit, she yeeted that. She missed, but
she.
My god.
Yeah, I didn't expect her to like throw that as hard as she did. I don't remember being able to throw anything. Jesus.
Oh yeah, you can throw things. You can throw those lanterns. Someone else going? Oh, he's fine. I thought I killed them. Oh my god, she's bad at it though.
Oh jeez.
It's one of the crawling sections.
At least her skirt didn't jump up.
Unless you got the bonus costume, it might not be that bad.
Well, that's good, because let me tell you, the bonus costume left nothing to the imagination, and I hated it.
On the one hand, it's like, why did they do that at all? And then on the other hand, it's like, why did they pick this character of all the characters to give a stupid sexy costume? Because any of the other ones would have been more acceptable. Let me do Lewis.
Let me see up Lewis's skirt, you cowards! Yeah. I think with the remake, I don't believe I got the like deluxe edition or anything, but like Leon's got some outfits.
Oh jeez.
None are particularly skimpy except maybe the vampire one.
I've finally realized that no one thinks Ashley is hot, and everyone thinks Leon and Lewis and Ada, and basically the entire rest of the Resident Evil canon. Yeah.
I think so.
They're really chanting up the stone over there.
Yeah, they're doing their thing. I think there are outfits for Ashley, but they like haven't announced them the same way that they have the Leon ones, which is very, very funny to me.
I've seen Ashley's new design, and she just looks like a girl, and it's not weird.
Good, we love that.
It's not gross.
I like it when the girl looks just like a girl.
Yeah, she's just girl. She's going dumpster.
Ashley Dumpster.
Game, come on. Please. Always press the switch.
Never don't push switch?
Always do push switch.
Always switch.
Always don't push switch. Hey. Oh.
Oh.
Why if I really want to go there, though, switch. I'm just checking if there were drawers on any of those. So we gotta get the treasure, even when we're Ashley. Because then she can give that treasure to Leon. And Leon can sell it for guns. And gun accessories. Ashley can't ever use a weapon. Unless you're Doc playing the modded PC version, where he gave Ashley the shotgun that has like infinite ammo. Ah!
Oh, no.
Oh, okay, the middle bit is the bit that doesn't have anything in.
Good to know.
That was the first. Am I doing right?
Kind of?
That needs to be in the middle. How does that get to the middle? Can you just give me That's not gonna work.
No.
We're gonna work?
Kind of.
Is that gonna work? How this work?
You move that one up. Nope. But well, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I'm a genius. I don't need
Yeah.
any help from anyone, except that I obviously do all of the time. Especially
Listen,
with those specific puzzles.
you just needed confirmation that you had moved it correctly. You had moved it correctly.
I've got a bit missing. Do I have a bit? I got a bit, Anna. I got a little...
Did you get a bit?
I had a little nugget.
Did you get a
There's
nugget?
a bit. Look at that little nugget.
You got a bit.
They're a slider puzzle and I didn't even beans it up that badly. The best there ever was. To see the treasure chest. That's my bangle now. I'll need to take that all the way back, won't we?
Hey.
Oh, we need that too.
Excuse me?
Oh.
Ah!
Oh.
Ah! What the fuck?
It's fine. It's fine.
Why don't I remember that?
Ah! Oh, whoops.
Oh, the horrible.
There's a thing I remembered as soon as it happened. Okay. Where are the stompers?
We're stompers. Oh
yeah. Need them to stomp. Oh, that's a stomper just hanging out there. I don't like that. That's fine.
If I just keep yelling, that's gonna help the situation, right? Like, it's definitely not gonna hinder everything.
Yeah.
Why did it change? Okay. It's fine, you got it.
Change the buttons. Change the buttons on me. And honestly, though, that's the one I pressed the first time. When I see the thing pop up, I just instinctively hit square and X without checking what the prompt is, so it's not too bad for me.
Okay, that's good. I'm definitely somebody who, like, I default to the triggers.
Apparently square and X is the right answer. That man turned to dust. He tried to chop me, he failed. He became so. Where's the thing? Butler's memo. Knowing that Sir Ramon Salazar had no family, Lord Sadler must have used his strong faith in the Illuminati to his advantage to talk Sir Salazar into undoing the seal of the Las Plagas once done by his ancestor. Senior Salazar? That's senior, right? Or Senor? Senor Salazar?
Yeah.
Would never do such a thing unless he was in some way being used unknowingly. I should have sensed the Lord's dirty scheme sooner. I feel I'm partly responsible for all this.
Oh,
I have no idea as to what the Lord is planning, but Senor Salazar was just being used. It's too late now, however. Senor Salazar has already taken the Plaga into his body. There is no turning back once the Plaga has turned into an adult in the body. The Plaga parasite will not die unless the host dies. There is no cure. Perhaps Senor Salazar may have been vaguely aware of the Lord's plan all along, but it's hard to tell. Nevertheless, nothing I can do about it now. I have served the Salazar family for generations. I am prepared to continue my services until the very end.
Dang.
Where was the thing that I was supposed to put in a thing? It's the boy. Look at that picture. I want that picture. Was it in the part where all the men were running after me? Hey, is anyone still here? Y'all still mad?
Probably.
I'm always lost. Why am I always lost? It's. Hey, I love
I
this
wouldn't
game.
worry
This is
about
one of my
it.
favorite games. I'm lost forever. I didn't mean to have to go around. I don't want to make a crawl in case the camera goes up a foot. It can't be. It's gotta be this way, right? Because the meant it was in here and I just didn't see it. I missed this anyway. It's very important that we get that. Did I? Oh, in the stupid thing, the turny thing. Round hole in the center. I got it. I know what's going on.
I'm glad you do, because I don't.
I would love to turn the dice.
Turn it, turn it.
Actually, what are you doing with your hand? What are you doing with your weird little claw hand? Actually, is this a technique that helps you climbing the ladder?
She just wants to seem as helpless as possible when Leon's around, because then she won't have to do anything ever.
I wish you could yeet lanterns at people when you're fighting.
Yeah, but she'd miss.
Hey!
Oh my god, we're already done. Thank God. Hey, remember we have to backtrack to get the broken butterfly.
Oh, don't worry about it. Come on, let's move on.
We have to get on that broken butterfly track. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just saying words. No, I don't think. I think my hit ratio suffered there because Ashley fucking missed twice on her auto aim. By the way, I wasn't aiming that. She was doing that on her own. I just said to throw it. She just missed on her own. Thank you, Ashley.
Very bad at everything. You got a red herb in there. Combined to make a biggest herb.
Good find. I almost just made regular big herb.
Don't make regular big herb.
I can use those leaves to make a nest for those eggs.
Egg shrine. Egg shrine.
Got lots of flashbangs again. I love it. Hi, it's Leon.
Hannigan, it's Leon. Oh.
What a touching.
Hi, Goblin Man. It's Leon.
Thanks to your interruption. Why don't you do us all a favor and leave before the audience gets pissed off?
You're nothing but an extra in my script, so don't get too carried away.
We don't have to keep going on. We don't have to keep doing this play metaphor y'all are working on. Please?
I don't even like your script. Good on Leon.
Got him. You showed him.
Let me see. Map. Okay, so thing 1, where am I? Thing 2, where am I going? If we go...
Going west.
This way, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
My boy.
Hey, it's the merchant. Did you see that guy come in and you didn't give us a heads up? Come on, merchant. You could have saved Lewis. You watched the whole thing go down.
God.
It's not the dog maze. It's the room before that, isn't it?
Yeah, the red door. No dog maze.
No dog maze. Never again dog maze. Dog maze is horrible.
Dog maze was bad and we didn't like it, and I don't ever want to do it again. And now there's men here trying to harvest some wheat.
No, you get my wheat. They're about to wheat their maker.
You got him.
Which I say while running away to confuse them.
Do it again. I like that you're suplexing them onto Ashley.
Yeah, heads up, Ashley.
Also, hi, Nem. You're just in time to see Fruity suplex cement into Jesus Christ!
Motherfucker just threw a scythe at me. Who even does that?
He does, apparently. Dang! Okay.
That'll do.
Nice.
Hit the stupid helmets when they're getting up. Instant music end.
It's never not funny. I hope they keep that in the remake.
The music just stopping as soon as you clear a room.
Yeah. No fade out, no smooth transitions, just instant stop. Dead silence.
I will never again lay foot in the dog maze until I guess the next time I play through Resi 4. Hi Nam, how you doing? We did the bit where you're Ashley.
It's done and it's
It
over?
wasn't that horrible. I just ran in through and pressed button.
Said no more. All done.
Yeah, Leon, we have another person. We have an Ashley.
Ashley's
She's
not
right
a person. Ashley, please.
Camera. Cameraman. Ashley, can you wear trousers in the remake?
Right.
I don't think she does, but she does wear a jacket. And she doesn't look ridiculous.
She's not incredibly well endowed.
She's not very booby. Gosh.
What?
Look at that guy. He does have to go in the gun section, so we are gonna have to move a few things.
That's fine.
Because the guns have to go in the gun section.
You can fit all that shotgun ammo in the bottom right corner if you wanted.
That's true. That's true. I like it. It's a good idea.
They'll
Good
fit
strat.
very nicely there. Look at that.
And that's a rock
Move
fact.
things. That's not gonna last long. This one's upside down.
Why have you done this?
Wow.
Hey!
Wow. I'm not gonna use that on regular guys.
Yeah, no.
Broken Butterfly is the most powerful gun in the game. Its maximum firepower is 50, which means 50 bullets from this if it doesn't have any upgrades. Per bullet in the Broken Butterfly.
50 bullet per bullet.
50 bullets in every bullet.
Dang.
Hey Ashley. Oh my god, Ashley. What are you doing?
Follow me.
She
I think
just
she just kicked the door open.
open.
I think she might have just kicked the door open. My capture doesn't look to be running super great. Tell me if there's a problem there.
It seems fine.
Okay.
I mean, it's not a full 60 frames, but, you know, I can only see 10 frames at a given time.
It's
That's
less
fine.
frames than I'm getting on the TV. Right, because I didn't sign out Steam. Ugh. Let me do that real quick.
For shame. But yeah, no, I haven't noticed anything. Eat fine.
You were streaming Streets of Rage. Nice.
Ooh.
Oh. Okay, Steam is closed. Nem said it was fine anyway, but better safe than sorry.
And we are doing it funny, the way that we're capturing all this. So.
Yeah. Did I just save? I'll save again. Why
I
not?
think you did, but you know, better too many saves than not enough.
So many saves. I want to run the saves number out of numbers. We need to do at least 1,000 saves. So it rolls over into that fourth digit.
Biggest number.
Oh yeah, it's around this. I remember. Okay, we can get back where we're going now. I assume we
where
were
you're
going
going.
somewhere from here. And not that I'm gonna get back here and have to turn around. Actually, let's check.
Now that you mention it.
Well, it looks like we go that way, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We'll be
Yeah. Now, Ashley, no more running into very obvious traps, okay?
Also, duck if someone throws a scythe at us, please.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Sounds spooky in here. Okay, fine. I'll reload my handgun.
Hey, do you want to save again?
Absolutely, every time.
Why does it sound bubbly in here?
This is where they keep the lava moat.
Why a bubble?
All good castles need a lava moat. Oh.
It is true. It's roller coaster!
Oh.
I love roller coaster.
Didn't know they had a ride.
Listen, castle's very large. You don't want to have to walk everywhere, do you?
That makes sense. You gotta have a roller coaster for getting around.
A roller coaster.
Why walk when you could roll?
Listen, some days I would like a roller coaster in my apartment.
Like, Yzma's basement.
Yeah. I could tell Farley to pull the lever, and then he'll pull the wrong lever, and just whine at me the whole time about it.
Tell Fala to pull the lever, and Fally will make funny little sounds and honk at you.
Yeah.
And then you can tell him not to pull the lever, and he'll do exactly the same thing. Damn, where Lionhead?
Right.
Damn, where Lionhead?
Jeez.
Where Lionhead?
Well,
Where Lion?
there's a door there on the right.
Here? Yeah, but how do I get there? How do I get there?
Do you take the roller coaster again?
I'm gonna take it back and have a look around there.
Are there roller coasters in Cataclysm?
I could probably build one if you're a thing, Noah.
If you're
And his cool channel says
Wait here.
he once made a funny little vehicle that he could use as like a bridge to walk across roofs and then turn around and then use it again. But sometimes he dropped through it when he was trying to walk across it.
Aww.
Oh yeah, it's the lava moat. Good guess.
Hey, I bet that's what we need.
It's possible. Who is there?
That's dragon. Dragon and man. But you don't know that that's working.
Yeah, me neither.
Hey, here's the thing. I'm not sure.
This is
That was
fine.
functioning. Jump!
See? Fine.
Hey, jump! Excuse you. Excuse you. Excuse you.
Let's just focus on not being here anymore,
Yeah.
if at all possible.
But also, how cool would this be if this was your job? To just hang out in the lava mode all day and control the dragon.
Just a professional flamethrower operator.
Yeah! I want that job.
Oh hey, I forgot how to shoot again. Get out of here, man. Okay, now we can concentrate. Oh, now everyone's... Nope.
Oh my god. Sir, you need to leave.
I was hoping that the wall would still be blocking the
Right?
flamethrowers. That's lovely. Ah.
Now what?
Does look like...
Oh
My guy!
my god. Wait a minute!
Do I honestly not do that?
That's what it looks like you do.
Exactly. Okay.
Sir.
Whoop. If it didn't keep spawning this one guy...
Yeah.
Damn.
He's a gribbler.
He's a gribbler now. I was hoping it wouldn't get there that fast. I need you to go away though, guy.
Jesus Christ.
Right. Can we be done with that now? Would it be at all possible
No.
that that man could stop spawning and dropping on my head? Nope, there's another one. I just heard him drop.
Yeah.
I can't aim
This
fast
is
enough to do that.
horrible. No.
Fuck! Damn, he's so slow.
Yeah. Oh, that fire rate.
Okay, I have to use any other gun because I literally can't make the shot with that. I don't get enough time.
Yeah.
Cool. I was walking here, but I guess I'm not now.
I'm
This is
scared.
ass. I forgot this section. This is so ass. Oh my god, game, you can't. Ah! You have to stop reappearing that lad. I can't even see around the corner.
Oh no.
Is there 3 of them?
Yeah. They wiggle when they shoot flames, don't they?
Okay, one down.
Great.
Please don't be able to hit me from here.
Hey, treasure.
Fuck off! I think he went in the fire. No.
Ah!
I can't do anything!
Yeah.
I have to run back over here and now there's 2 of him! Good luck getting through the fire. Apparently it's fine, they can just survive.
This is
Have you tried
horrible.
just not dying when the fire hits you? Please light these people on fire for me.
Yeah, we're shooting their kneecaps and everything's great. Hi, David.
Fucking...
Sorry you
This
missed the
goes
movie
so
earlier.
fast and hits you through walls.
Yeah, it's
This
not
is
good.
way too fast for Leon's stupid aiming. I realized he was shooting earlier. It's fine.
I don't know that it is fine.
I am sick of this garbage. I genuinely just can't get that guy.
Okay, well that's at least one less that you have to worry about, right?
Yep.
So progress.
The infinitely respawning man is still fine, but what can we do? He has many lives. Are you kidding?
Oh, jeez.
Why was it aiming that way?
Because,
Felt like it.
yeah.
I can't see my endpoint because everything
we
is
go.
red.
Oh, jeez.
That was horrible. I hated every second of it.
But you didn't die. So that's exciting.
Almost died. Contemplated letting them kill me so I could get the healthies back.
Go get the treasures.
Well,
I guess you could get this treasure first. I guess.
I don't know where the other treasures were.
There's one on the pedestal to your left, and I think the other
Oh,
one is
yeah.
on the other side of the terrible cage.
Come on, Cage. Come on, Cage.
Let's go, cage. Let's go.
Oh, I could have probably gone all the way through in one.
Yeah,
And no,
it's fine.
it would have been much more defensible if not for the one infinitely respawning man at one end.
Yeah.
I don't know what the deal with that guy was. He sucks.
It was horrible, and I hated him. Managed to not get grab Ashley. Great, good job.
For the first time ever, Ashley was ungrabbed. I was shooting their kneecaps so the fire would get them, because I didn't want to waste more bullets on them.
Eee.
Okay, we got this stuff to open the door now. Yeah, 6.5 hours in. And I remember a lot of things after this point, but I don't know how fast
Yeah.
they happen. Because it's like, it's insanity the whole way through the game.
Yeah.
Everyone remembers the village, then the castle, then was there like a giant man who chases Leon around for that sounds too weird. A giant rock man who chases Leon? Did he jump over some lasers and then just sit in a chair? Did that happen? What if everyone had a minigun and this guy showed up in a helicopter and Leon's like, hey, what's your name? And he says his name and then he dies instantly and Leon's like, my god, it's that guy who I just met. Like, this is the saddest thing that's ever happened.
This all sounds plausible.
Did a guy just show up and say, it's been a long time, comrade? And you're like, who is this guy? I don't remember him from any of the other games. And then you look it up on the wiki and he's not in any of the other games. Is that real?
Might be.
Does the purple gem go in the mask? It'd be lovely if it did, wouldn't it? Hey! It's the last
Holy
one.
shit!
So we missed the first two. But I got one of them.
Good job.
There's so many castles in this castle.
Again, just don't want to have to walk around the entire castle. Just install a roller coaster in your castle.
To take you to your other castles.
Yeah.
It's like, just building a bunch of castles in the same place, like an Age of Empires player.
They didn't plan. Oh. They were very bad at planning their building, just in general, the buildings, and so they were like, oh, I guess we'll just... Hey! That was another gem for the mask.
I thought I'd missed those, but explain this. Can that be the other one? No, that's a spinel.
It's just a spinel. That's still 2 out of 3.
Yeah, it is.
Which is significantly better than I thought you did, because I thought you got 0 out of 3.
Yeah, me too. I almost sold it. Okay, I want to go this way.
I would have.
Before we go anywhere. Is it this way? Hang on, I'm real dumb. I need to see the map every few inches. No, that's the wrong way. We go this way.
Wait.
No, push the guys. At least he pushes quite quick.
Yeah.
Ashley's heavier than she looks.
She's been accumulating mass.
She's very dense. That's why she's such a good thrower.
Follow me.
Fuck!
Not allowed.
Not allowed. Oh, that's a... That looks like it might be a trap, Leon. I wouldn't have gone in there.
Let's see if you can survive.
I like how he wasn't there and then he was.
Yeah.
Classic. Classic trap. His
Little goblin. Run.
The waddle.
It's gotta be above me, right? I like that there's some handgun bullets in the trap, just so you have a fighting
Just
chance.
in case.
Yeah. Don't want to make it unfair. White camera. Why? Oh, right, because we have to look at the roof, because that's where I need to shoot. I understand.
Good job.
Ashley. Oh, okay, the tunneling machine. Of course.
Huh.
Oldest trick in the book. The trap on the other side of the trap.
Ashley, get up! Ashley, get up! Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Ashley. Do I need to leave?
No.
It's vibrating a lot, is this room?
Yeah, but the thing's only gonna go forward, right? See, it's done now.
It would be hard for it to turn, you'd think, without any living crew members.
Yeah.
Oh, big cup.
Ooh.
That's the
Fancy.
Queen of England's personal cup.
Fancy cup. May she drink from it in hell.
Definitely.
It's fine.
Or fun, John.
This is an American stream. I can say these things.
I'm not allowed to say these things, but you're running cover for me to be able to... I have to... When you say these things, I have to go, oh no, how could you? I can't believe this.
Your herbs are upside down again.
That's fun.
No.
We'll fix it when they become the real herbs, when we get the red to go with it. Until then, there's still herbs in training, you see?
Okay. I guess.
Not that. And
Damn,
well, I hope that never happens again.
Top form. What a great gymnast is Leon.
Yeah, easy to take that King's Grail. I love me a King's Grail. What do I do about these lads?
You shoot them?
Bro.
Ah!
Actually, you are trash at this video game.
Actually, give me the controller. You're bad at this.
Can he turn around behind him? I can't remember.
Ah!
That's dead, Ashley. Ashley's too bad to dodge.
No.
Oh,
I guess I just tell her to stand still, since she was stood in the corner a lot of the time. And it didn't seem to be effective. Oh, are you kidding? Why do I have to do this again?
Can you tell her to wait out here?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Wait.
Just stand there, Ashley. Think about what you've done, Ashley.
Because it's not like you go through a door to get in there, right? So she can just wait outside while you deal with
Do I have to
the...
I can't remember what you do. There's a way you have to. There's a thing you have to do to hurt these
Yeah.
knights. But I can't remember what it is. I'm still taking my cup. You can't stop me taking my cup. It's my cup. I deserve it.
Yeah, you do. But yeah, without Ashley here, you can take a little more time to try and figure out what you're doing.
Yeah.
Oh!
Well, that looked promising, didn't it?
He wiggled.
Also, would be really hot in that suit of armor, right? Ah! Nope. Fireproof. My God.
Rattle them. Ah!
Yeah, it didn't seem to be doing a lot of anything.
How did you make the one man?
He just knelt down?
My liege.
There we go.
Ah!
Whoop! It's just that easy. Fuck.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. It's fine. They're armpits?
I mean, that's only chainmail. Presumably, the shotgun is better than a chainmail. Also,
Presumably.
you'd think. It truly was open season on all circuits. I think I just had to shoot them until the thing came out and then shoot them some more in the thing. Yeah. I think that was the puzzle. The puzzle was firing your gun at the enemy. Oh.
Just... Ha. Ha. Ha.
Man, it's shit being Leon, huh?
Yeah, I don't like how many bullets this is taking.
No.
Oh.
Oh, that's a big one. Ah!
Yeah. Oh!
Oh shit, that's out of bullets. That's why I wasn't using it, I remember.
Six. If you could get them to show their wigglers at the same time, and you could flashbang them, and that'd be cool. That
would, but I think it's worth using the flashbang even if it's just on one.
Sure.
Especially when it stuns the other for quite a long time.
Yeah, just would be real cool. Here's the thing. Think about how...
Ah! Leon, no! Fine, you're in control.
I don't understand why you're...
Why is this not hurting him?
It flinched the second time, but the very first time it definitely didn't.
Oh, Hydra.
Yeah, I was waiting until the chaos had passed.
Nem loves to time those right as a fight starts. I will reload my shotgun.
Also, grip it and rip it. It is just the carbonated water, though. I promise.
Follow me.
I do think the shotgun... I was really afraid to reload my shotgun in that fight because I thought it was too slow. I think I've got enough upgrades, so the shotgun reloads pretty quick now.
Mm-hmm.
Sample retrieved. As you may have heard, Louis Serra has been disposed of by Lord Sadler. The sample is back where it belongs. You know what really annoys me? They use the same... When they do the speech marks, they use the same one on both sides.
Instead of the one that's upside up and the other is upside down.
Instead of open and close, they just use the same. They use claws on both sides. I had hoped that the whole matter could be resolved without troubling the Lord. However, as long as the sample is safe, we can all rejoice, for our time is nearly at hand. Now that the sample is back in our safe hands, it'll be a bit more difficult for that troublesome woman to get it. A bloody woman! In light of all this, it's unfortunate that Sarah had to go. Like us, he would have had a bright future if only he'd shown more faith in our beliefs. As for the other two Americans, the Lord has left the matter in our hands. We must not disappoint the Lord. We shall capture Ashley and take her to the Lord and dispose of the American agent.
I wouldn't sully my walls with a picture of Jared Leto. I couldn't even figure out his fucking name for a minute there.
No, Mr. Lego.
No Lego. Oh! They're gonna throw those.
Hey guys, I just reloaded my shotgun. Nice to meet you.
Hey Ashley, you should back up a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Hey Ashley.
Stand over there, Ashley. Oh, never mind. I didn't think I'd get all of them. That's good grenade. That's grenades
very
in this.
good.
The grenades in this are kind of good. It's almost like they want a cup. Some sort. Maybe a red one, since it's a red statue. I like that they carried over the tradition of just using weird things as keys. That's a good series tradition. Genuinely, it's weird and I love it.
No, it's great.
They tried to like make the insane design of the police station in Resident Evil 2 make more sense by saying it used to be an art gallery before the cops took over, right?
Yo. Brown chicken egg from a snack.
Breg.
Maybe that's what I'll do this week. Is play Resident Evil 2. I was trying not to overdo it on Resident Evil content. Because it's been just oops all Resident Evil recently and will continue to be. But maybe we just go maybe we just go buck wild with it.
I mean, you definitely could. You say, oh.
I've been wanting to replay 2 for a while.
This is fine. Oh, yeah. Hey, Ashley, you cabbaged.
Fucking bye!
More of them.
Yeah, there's more of them, Leon. There were more than one. I think there's infinite? I can't remember. Yeah, I think there's infinite coming out of the nest.
It's just
where am I
bad
going?
here.
Not anywhere good. Heck. I missed a kick prompt too. Oh god, this is not tenable.
This is my favorite part. I love their stupid kicks.
I hate their everything.
They're very funny.
Fuck you! Oh, this is not going well. Go, you dare.
Well, he didn't kick you.
No!
Damn.
I'm shaking so hard for those.
I can hear it?
I would love to turn the lever, Leon. I think that's a really good idea.
Leon. Shoot the thing. Shoot the thing. You gotta shoot the thing. Yeah, shoot that thing.
Shot the thing.
Good job.
Now we just have to get there.
Easy.
It's gotta make it. I saw that TMP ammo fading out.
lots of green eyes and a blue eye.
I got the blue one. I think that's the one we
that
need.
you were missing. Yeah.
That's the rare one.
Nice.
Oofa doofa.
And look, our best friend. Just in time.
That was a lot.
Yeah, but you didn't. You didn't even die. Proud
Didn't
of
die.
you.
I only almost died again.
Only almost.
And I always almost die. Welcome.
Welcome. Got some rare things. What are you buying?
Don't think we're gonna upgrade the broken butterfly. I think we're gonna leave it as is. I saw that final firepower upgrade on the TMP there. We have a lot of choices here.
All
Oh.
of it.
Hang on, is my shotgun loaded? Not quite fully. Let's get a free bullet.
What are you buying?
I would like my shotgun to be very good.
Thank you. What are you
Yeah. Thank you. Where's that thing we just made? There we go. Look at that. 32,000.
Hey.
Thank you. Is that Thank you. Is that Is that Thank you.
What do you think is the chance that we'll find the last bit for the mask?
This is what I think the chance is.
Alright, alright.
Thank you. Is that old?
Let's go hog wild.
That was my thought, but you
Yeah.
know.
Is that
Gotta buy all the things.
Maximum handgun.
Nice.
Does handgun not get an exclusive? Was I just wrong? That's fine. I'm wrong frequently. Oh, this isn't fully loaded either. That's some free ammo.
Thank you.
Need fire rate with that. Oh. It's exclusive upgrades fire rate though, I think.
Thank you.
Not counting the one fire rate upgrade we already got.
You could get both.
Thank you.
We're good.
Alright. He does have a very good laugh.
He's a very good guy. I might be pouring a drink.
This is fine.
That bug room's quite stressful.
Yeah.
All the bug rooms are quite stressful.
So do you
Not good
think
guys.
we can beat this game by this next weekend?
Oh. I mean, we could beat this game including next weekend.
Well, yeah. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
I don't know how to words.
If you can see me, Mr. Kennedy.
I can see outgoing image.
If you even scratch
Incoming image.
First, we shall see if you can make it this
I only
far.
see age?
I'll be waiting.
I think the merchant only shows up in this one, right?
Yeah.
Shit.
Only time you ever see the merchant.
Yeah.
Hey, I shot the guy. Oh god, no, okay.
Oh, jeez. Oh, heck no. Oh, heck no. Oh, heck no.
I don't know where that's going on. I just know it doesn't seem to be in the spot I currently am in.
It's
And
somewhere.
that's fine.
It is happening in a location. Oh! I think it's happening around the corner.
Me too.
Nice.
I think that guy might be a guy.
It sounded like a wiggler.
Yeah.
There was the first explosion of his head and then a second explosion?
I mean, the other explosion could have been caused by, Whoop!
I guess there was a squelchy explosion.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Maybe he got by the big fiery explosion.
Okay, we're gonna need all this to calm down, and then we're gonna... They are picking up those big rocks. Why are they shooting at?
Just wherever.
What? How do you
It's
do
fine.
that after he was dead, game? Explain yourself.
Maybe he fell on the lever that shoots it.
Wrong lever. I do like the Duke, but I kind of wish the Merchant was like I don't know. I'm happy to just have him show up once and then never exist again.
I like that the Duke mentions him.
Yeah. I mean, all the Merchants are just friends.
We're all just buddies.
Going down, right? Oh.
Yeah.
So whoops, just for treasure.
Yeah.
If that's the case.
Which, you kind of love some treasure here.
We're all about the treasure. Maybe I do go up? That camera zoom seemed to tell me up was the main way we were going here. Okay, well we'll check down. We'll check down and just the guy just jumps.
Yeah,
Leon doesn't climb down ladders. No one climbs down ladders in this game. It's not possible.
You know that thing when you watch somebody in a video game fall and your stomach makes it feel like you're falling? That's what just happened.
Oh, jeez. Leon.
What? Leon, be nice to me.
Why do I keep getting boxes of 2 rifle bullets?
Oh,
It's not even worth the dang box. Why are you putting 2 bullets in a box and then hiding it in a chest? Unbelievable.
Those are their special bullets. Okay.
One of them's got Louis Serra written on it, and the other's got Leon S. Canada. The Top Gun Adder sharpshooter was going to use those to take them both out.
Sucks for them.
Yeah, now they don't have the bullets, so now they can't fire. And that's why we never get shot by anyone with a normal gun in this, with a man-portable gun. Oh, ritual preparation. Thanks to the efforts of the Novistadors, we've been able to recapture Ashley. Damn, they wrote this quick. We shall prepare for the sacred ritual as quickly as possible and make Ashley an official member of the Los Illuminados. While we prepare for the ritual, those of you who feel inclined can attend to our American friend. We should be able to hold off our friend for at least a little while by jamming the gears in the clock tower with something. I think if we jam the gears in 3 places, it should give us enough time to prepare everything for the ritual. Now go and entertain our American tourists.
Again, very bad at like getting rid of the notes that are just letting everyone know what's going
like the
on.
Gears are jammed.
Weird.
Okay, we need to find the other gems, I guess.
Oh.
Well, there's one.
Hey.
I hope it's not far down, because I just came from down there.
Yeah, but you do get to jump off of the ladders again. Oh, I saw it.
Yeah, I think I saw it. Could I hit it from here? Yeah.
Wasn't that far.
Look how fast he reloads now. It's fully upgraded handgun.
So
Which has
fast.
enough damage that it shoots 2 bullets per bullet.
Yeah. Wow, what a diversion. That took so long.
Oh. That is very blurry. This is a
Yeah, it
PlayStation 2 cutscene right here. A GameCube original.
My
Unchained.
God.
It's on GameCube first, I think?
Was it?
Definitely GameCube and PS2, like the
Yeah.
first things they released on. Of course, it is on every single console. Ah! Suplex.
Wah!
Whoop. Can't get some. Shoot. Where are they firing from? Ah! Come back!
Originally for GameCube. And then PlayStation 2.
I thought he dropped an item. This is horrible. I wanted an item. Did a really bad job of that. Ow.
Oh, jeez.
Do not throw those at me. Not what they're for. Ah!
Ah!
Heck.
Ah!
Oh!
Ah! Ah!
What do you mean? Am I just doing this to scare Cash? Of course not. So we should probably eat an egg.
That's not an egg.
Egg adjacent.
Whoa!
Fucking shot his side. I saw it coming.
Very good.
I was hoping if he tried to do his instant kill, he'd die before the animation had completed. Was what I was hoping there, because I was very scared. And that seemed to be the best chance of me not getting got.
Ah!
Not good. Not a good thing.
No. No, it is not.
We do hate to see it. We hate to see it, folks.
Can't say we like it. Can't say it's a good thing. Beats. Nice.
We wasted a few bullets on the shields, but, you know.
Listen,
That's what... We have a TMP. Sometimes you just gotta shoot the TMP.
it's true. That is far
Oh,
more men
fucking
than
hell.
jumped out. That...
Do I have a grenade? I'd like a grenade.
Yes.
I have a grenade.
Just the one, actually.
I don't want to get... I don't want to get blown up with a rocket launcher is the thing.
Yeah, and I think Rocket Launcher Man's standing back up.
How did I only not get a rocket launcher, man?
Tried to take that bullet for his friend. Did not go very well.
Whoop!
Oh, jeez. Sir. Just
So
pick
much
everything
treasure.
up real quick.
So much treasure.
Yeah. Hey, more TMP ammo though.
And a golden bangle.
Ooh.
We good now? Oh no, we're not
No. Were those Wolverine guys in the back?
If I say no, will they go away?
No. Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god.
This is fine.
Ah!
Not fine anymore.
Ah!
Don't you grab me, I'm busy.
You kicked him so hard his head came off.
It happens. We could have... I'm trying to envision a situation where this doesn't... where everything isn't horrible. And I'm trying to manifest that. That's my strategy right now. Oh, God! Yeah, this wasn't part of the plan.
Hey, I think man's behind you. That man that you ran past?
Leon's head was falling off.
Well, he wasn't using it.
That's fair.
Me yelling constantly probably isn't helping, but I'm scared.
There's a lot happening. It's just a bad spot. Ooh,
it's not good.
Can we get that laser dot to go back on that bell?
Oh, no. No, one of them's coming for you, I think.
Nope.
No, never mind.
Nice. Not for these fucking dudes! It's a bit way less horrible.
Ah!
It's fine.
You've got this under control.
I didn't realize he was still over there. Okay, right. So what we want to do is... I think the shotgun for this. You go away. You also go away. Okay, there is a bit of a cooldown between shots. I did not mean to use that.
Oh.
I definitely clicked yes and not use, but here we are.
Oh, jeez.
Ah, well. Easy come, easy go. You can't, so you have to go through the bell.
Well, that is where a bell was.
Wasn't the right one?
Yeah.
Please. Mr. Man, please.
Sir.
They do be going, Urgh!
Okay.
One down.
Okay. Ah! Fuck!
This is a problem. Gonna use my half-formed health item. I shouldn't have done that. That were a mistake.
Yeah, that was questionable at best.
Didn't even hit anywhere important. That's gotta do it. Come on, guy. You know you wanna. Fall down.
Fuck.
I was really hoping that'd do it.
Yeah.
Much as it does when it's fully upgraded. Have the highest firepower of anything in the game. Doesn't start with quite the same level of oomph. There it goes.
Okay, thank God.
A little stressful.
But you did it.
Yeah.
Congrats.
And here we are. Fine. Kind of
Getting
love
a lot
that
of rifle ammo.
I think that was the last of those guys that we see.
Well, that's good, because I hate them.
I do have a lot of rifle ammo.
Too much, if you ask me.
No such thing. I just got 10 shotgun shells as well.
Yeah, you did.
Fucking go. Spinels.
Delightful.
Love a spinel.
It's my favorite thing.
Ashley.
Ashley.
Leon!
Leon!
Mr. Kennedy.
Ow! What's that button do? Hey, what's that button do?
Wrong lever! Since when did you have a grappling hook, Leon?
Since it's been convenient.
There's no spikes, bud, so you're not gonna hear the satisfying sound of impalement.
Stop.
Bugman.
I love the Bugman.
Leon, you're alive.
Leon! You're alive.
Hunnigan. It's Leon. Oh.
So maybe you have 9 lives, but it doesn't matter now, Mr. Kennedy. I've sent my right hand to the
Oh.
of you.
Your right hand comes off?
Your right hand comes off?
Please, die, you worm!
Bloody got him. Hear rats, but I want to shoot them for treasure and I can't see them.
Not the rats. We only sploot them.
Do you want to see something
Those
very
are bats,
silly?
not rats. Yes.
Yeah, they are.
Friend.
Check this out. Watch this, boy. And I'm doing this even though I could upgrade the capacity and get the ammo for free, just to show the animation now. Whoa! Okay. It just has a very silly reload animation. Best thing about the broken butterfly, honestly.
Very good.
Hey. Hey.
Do it.
Look, we need a first aid. Let's not go crazy.
No, let's go crazy.
Thank you. Is that old strange?
It's gonna take some upgrading, but it's real good.
Thank you. What are you
You
selling?
served as well, shotgun. Served as real well, shotgun.
Thank you for your service, shotgun.
I'll buy it.
I love you, shotgun.
Thank you.
You've done so much for us, shotgun.
Thank you. Thank you. What are you buying?
I think the striker does the least damage when it's fully upgraded, and it has the widest spread. It might not actually do the least damage. It might just have the big spread. I can have 2 of these now?
Come back.
That's lovely.
Exciting.
And then I can eat my egg. And I can put my shotgun back in my shotgun spot. It already has 14 shots, though. Also, another thing about it, I need to sort my inventory out. It's gonna drive me crazy, I'm sorry.
It's acceptable and understandable.
I should check if he has any more things I can upgrade to. I just got excited.
That's fair.
When Leon aims this, he aims it from the hip, which is fine for a shotgun, but he does that with the TMP if you don't have the stock, which is another reason why it's really bad, because you have to aim up to get to the head if he does that. So it's like, I don't know, it just takes a bit longer to do, and you can kind of tell like it's throwing you off when your other guns all aim at head height. And luckily, we don't need to aim with the shotgun.
True. Just get it in the general direction of enemies, and it'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll do. I'll do well enough.
Thank you.
And we won't worry too much about the reload speed
What are
just
you
yet.
selling?
So close though.
It's close, but I can't get the
Is
last
that all?
upgrades.
Is that all? Is that all?
2 divots, you say?
Mm.
Fascinating. A double divot situation.
Not the double divots. Woot!
I think the part with the right hand is a bit of a problem. I think he's a bit of a problem lad, if I remember.
I'm
Oh,
sure
we're in the
it'll be
sewers
fine.
again. Why does Leon spend all of his time running around in sewers, being covered in
Listen,
poop?
He loves the sewers, okay?
Oh god, it's them.
Yeah.
That's a tick. It did.
Poop spinel.
Pooping now.
No. Spoop no. This seems fine.
It's fine.
Somebody else just likes to run around in the sewers too, okay?
Yeah.
Leon is the last person who can judge someone for this.
That's fine.
What you doing?
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, we're on. We're doing this now for a minute. Oh.
Jeez.
I'd love to turn the power on. Oh. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, just I'll just stand here for 4 minutes.
4 minutes is a very long time.
I mean, it depends what's happening. Luckily, nothing's
No.
going on.
It's a very long time.
I feel like I should run around, but I don't think it makes any difference.
Yeah. I mean, 4 minutes is a long time, but it's even longer if you're just standing still.
Love to open that show. Okay.
Oh, hi. Nice.
Just a xenomorph. Whoop! Where was that bomb? It's fine. Fuck.
Where'd he go?
My man go. I saw
There
him,
you
he was
go.
inside the console, it's fine. I don't think we can kill him. Until much later.
Ah!
Heck, I thought I'd done that. Stop it!
Sir! You do not get to combo your moves.
He does.
That is illegal. Oh god.
It's fine. Fine. Everything's fine. Oh, right. I have to wait 4 minutes. I'm worried about what's gonna happen when I unpause here.
Yeah.
So we're probably gonna eat an egg to make
Also,
sure
you
it's
have
fine.
3 first aid sprays. What the fuck?
Doing alright suddenly on health. That won't last long. But he got him.
Dang! He wiggle.
Fuck! We'll just
Scared?
jog over here. I was trying to game with one of the bomb thingies.
Yeah. Also, hi, Travis.
Is this Spider-Man?
Looks like it. That's
He's
a
got the
Venom,
black
right?
suit again. You hate to see it. Not good for him.
When's he gonna start emo dancing?
Can we knock this over? Would that help in any way? Oh. Yeah,
Oh.
that helps. Now, I think we can do a bunch of damage to him. Might even be a treasure in it for us, but we can't actually kill him until he's a boss. I'll just go stand over here. Where it said. And if he comes in, I'll knock this over. Oh, he's gonna be so mad. That froze him. You heal it yet, Lift? Come on, Lift!
Come on!
Leon, press the button more times. Uh-oh.
Don't push the button more times. If you do, then you're gonna get charged.
Did he disappear? No, there he is.
No.
Lift. Lift. Oh, he's going. Oh, he's got a little very shootable tummy.
Yeah, he does. I
Got
mean,
very
look at
shootable tum.
Look at that little tongue, though. It's so round.
Just asking to be shot a tum like that.
It's a good little tongue.
It's a good little tum.
Well,
The buttons were different that one
Yeah,
time.
that was
All the other times
rude.
it was the same. Hey, Lift, are you thinking about showing up now? I think it's been 4 minutes left.
Actually, it's only been 30 seconds.
No. The no was to him, by the way.
Either would have been valid, honestly.
Oh, thank fuck for that.
Hey!
Leon has a fabulous haircut. Is that what?
Sir!
Oh my god, he did 3. Okay. He'll just keep going now. You hate to see it. Also, could have pushed that on him, and I just did. Oh, Leon, we need to do the fast open, bud. We need to get that on right now.
No, we'll just take our sweet time. You know,
I
the
kinda-
elevator made us wait, so we need to make it wait now.
I like how Leon's first response to being attacked and having a dodge is backflip time.
Right? Sir.
I'm in the lift, guy. Go away. It's not your lift.
It seems that Salazar
Oh, we're in the
is
weird
difficult
factory that's
human
apparently under the
American
castle?
pig.
I always forget about this.
Salazar had his
Oh,
chance.
it's the boy.
Sir, go get the
It's
gun.
gross, huh?
Oh, and dispose of this
There's so
swine
much
in
weird in this
beforehand.
game.
Yeah.
Consider it done.
This man has never appeared in the series before. Just so you know. Just so you know. Who is he? Should I remember him from somewhere? No, this is his first ever appearance.
I do love that they, like, introduce him as if he's someone that you should know. Like, you know, it's
And then-
him, you know?
As soon as he
Him.
meets Leon, it's like, oh, we meet again, comrade. For the last time. It's like, we've never met before.
Who are you?
Who are you?
Welcome.
Look at all that. Oh, look at all those bullets behind him.
Hey, why don't you sell me a couple of those bullets, Mr. Merchant? Would that be okay? I would like to purchase bullet.
No, he needs those for himself.
What are you selling?
I don't think he does.
No, he does.
I think he's going through the same kind of aggravation as Leon right now.
What if he is, though? Here's the thing. What if he is?
I save so often. It's fine.
It's important.
So many bullets that I can't have. Is this the shooting range?
Welcome.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I would like my rapid fire weapons for this. One of these is not a rapid fire weapon, but that's fine. I'd like to play game A. I think you do get graded on accuracy in this. Reload
So far,
time.
so good.
I missed a couple.
Yeah, but overall, pretty alright.
Also, I think my TMP always fires 2. So technically I'm only, like, hitting half the shots unless there's another guy behind them.
Oh, jeez.
Never mind.
No, it's fine.
I did it good. Do I have limited ammo? Did I run out of ammo in this silly minigame?
Oh, no.
It's different ammo from my ammo.
Yeah, but still.
Oh, that's an Ashley. That's an Ashley.
Don't
Ashley.
shoot her.
Ashley.
Ashley, you have to duck.
Supposed to duck when I aim at you, Ashley.
Whoa.
She ducked that time. I thought that were Ashley again for some reason.
Is she girl?
Am I doing my all women are the same woman thing again?
Think so.
Apparently I missed one that time.
That seems
Unbelievable.
incorrect.
Anyway, let's see what we won. 5 ball caps.
What does this mean?
Can I look at those? How do I bottle caps? Merchant, what is bottle caps?
Merchant, I don't understand.
See prizes by scoring above 1,000 points. Bonus points for headshots. I should actually know that. Stars will appear with successive hits. Shooting and Ashley will deduct points. Special bottle caps will be awarded either by shooting all the targets except Ashley or scoring above 3,500. 24 bottle caps in all. Each time you enter a new shooting range, 6 new bottle caps are available. Each time you complete a row on the collector's base, you earn bonus points. 4 rows, you have 4 bonus chances. Bottle cap collection can be viewed in the treasures screen. There they are. Oh, we got Leon and Ada. And
The
you
only
can
ones that
spin
really
them.
matter.
Leon with rocket launcher.
Oh, God, that scared me.
You
Oh.
Leon now! Leon now! Leon now! Leon now!
can wiggle an Ada. Who's this? That's Don Esteban. On Forestero. I'm not sure Don Diego's well. That's the one that means they're behind you.
That is.
Because it says imbecile.
Great.
Anyway, that's a silly thing you can do if you want. And why not? Probably not.
That's fair.
We're on a deadline. We're on a strict schedule.
Only
And also-
slightly strict.
And also, it's just silly.
Yeah. Whoa!
It's
Sir!
Oh,
Lol.
I had an accident.
It's a little toasty.
Did he? Fine.
You punched him in the nose!
He's not fine now. It's weird to see these lads again.
Yeah,
Was that
it's been
Don
a minute.
Esteban or Don Diego? Look how fast they reload.
So good.
Forestero. Fall in your thing. Kick you from there. On Forestero. There it goes.
Go away.
Don't you dare.
Ah!
Whoop.
Ah!
They're throwing a lot of those, huh?
That's because there's a lot of them!
Where are they getting all these axes?
From their house?
No. Shouldn't be allowed.
Well, what are you gonna do about it? Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna get hit by about half of them, I think. That's what I'll do.
Oh!
Oh, he fucking made a dying sound and then got back up. Unbelievable rudeness. I really need you to know. Oh. Fucking guys. Quite a lot of them too.
Yeah.
Hey Pedro. The bug is called Pedro.
Oh my god, go away, Farley.
Whoop. There. Nice to see the peasants again, even if they are horrible and throwing things. Whoop, there's a guy. I'm trying to shoot the one on his butt. Are they the guys who, why are they mining?
Because they're trying to get the Las Plagas fossils?
Is Plagas his spawn?
I guess?
Is this the thing I should have done earlier? Probably. Hmm. Where are you? I got all this rifle ammo, and I'm mad. There he is. Oh, is it spawning infinite guys again? Fall down, man. I don't know where to go.
Somewhere. Not here.
Somewhere.
That's not where you
Is this where
jumped
I
down
came
from?
I need a switch somewhere. It could be where I jumped down from. I didn't see where the switch was. There doesn't seem to be a lot in this room except potentially an infinitely respawning man with dynamite.
Yeah.
Which you hate to see. I mean, I guess there's those guys too. They're just hanging out.
Wow, they're just chilling out, enjoying their break, and you're ruining their day.
Did I have anything going on? They did drop items, but I don't know how to get to them. Oh, there's the switch. Wait, no, is that the switch I pressed in the first place? Did someone just turn it off and now you just gotta go run over and turn it back on again? That makes sense.
That's it.
Oh, hey, it's Dr. Salazar. My old friend. Salvador, not Salazar.
Salazar's our gremlin friend.
He's a different guy.
Yeah.
He's a whole different guy.
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't have this last time we met.
Hey! Wow.
One in each ball.
Wow! Wait, you shot him 3 times.
That takes out. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
I think he's dead because I don't hear a chainsaw revving behind me. There we go.
Farley, if you're gonna lay here, you need to not lay on the table. Thank you. Lay down.
He had a lot of dollars.
We love
That
it when we have
Paulette.
lots of doll hairs.
Activate Dynamite Cat. Go, Dynamite Cat, go. Deploy. What am I doing with this? Oh, do I just want the dynamite? That makes sense. I could have just borrowed their dynamite. They have so much dynamite. Okay, where am I dynamiting? If I were dynamite, where would I go? This big rock? Get this big rock out of here? This big dang rock?
Yeah?
That's a big dang rock. Get that out of the way.
Get this ding dang rock out of here.
Get that ding dang rock out of here. How you feeling, Dr. Salvador? And I see you haven't despawned.
He's just taking a nap, alright?
He's having a little sleep. He's sleeping off those 5 magnum bullets. Also, silly gun nerd thing. The magnum bullets are not magnum bullets. It's 45 ACP. It's not magnum. That's not a magnum caliber. It's just slightly bigger bullets than the regular pistol's using.
Nerd!
So, and also, it's not really the right sort of bullet for the gun. It's the same caliber, but they're like, it's like 100-year-old gun. This looks like it could go wrong. Do we want to be sliding over the, Oh.
Large lads!
Well, that goes 1. Now it's just 1 El Gigante. That's fine.
You can work with this.
Where is the El Gigante exactly, do you think?
Probably directly behind you.
Oh.
Oh!
Actually, it's directly in front of me, Kish. What do you think of that?
Out. You need to go. Get out.
I agree, he does. Does need to go. He could just not be doing what he's doing right now. Ah! Can't be used again. Makes sense.
Is there another lever? Or do you just have to shoot the man dead? I think you have to shoot the man dead, right?
Yeah, I think you can shoot both of them, but and the both drop treasure, and that's what like Sam would do.
But it's easier to just dunk one.
But consider one can just go get dunked, and then he's gone, and you don't have to
You just
You don't
dumb
ever
the
have
man.
to talk to him again.
Yeah.
I got you, butt.
Right in the butt cheek.
Uh,
Nice.
Show me that.
Jump on
Show
his
me
back
that plant.
and very quickly.
So quickly. So many square presses. Ah!
Don't run into his foot, I think is the thing here.
He normally does that really slow one. That's oh. I thought it was gonna be at the square prompts. You faked me right out. Oh, I don't have any bullets for this.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Fine, I got this.
Uh-oh.
Why did that not? No, I'm complaining. That's fine. Very reasonable.
Oh!
Gun's not great for this.
No.
It does do a lot of damage, though. Oh, it takes this time.
They're faking you out constantly.
Constant.
Is he dead?
He's gonna fall on me. He can fall on you. You get a prompt to dodge if he's gonna fall on you. I should have let him do it.
Yeah, but he's
And Leon will
dead.
roll out of the way. Yeah, that means he's dead.
Yeah, but also he's dead.
Let me reload all of my guns except the broken butterfly, which I wanna try and upgrade because I'm just like that. I can't be changed.
Can never make you change your ways. I understand.
And we're also not healing because we're letting him. Next time Leon gets hit, that's when we're gonna heal. Everything's under control.
There is a plan. There is a method here. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's these guys again.
Yeah, I could hear
Sirs.
How did he die? That guy was so far away.
We just stood in the wrong place. Nice.
Ah!
Don't get stuck on the corner.
I'm caught on a little tiny edge.
There's a red herb back by that door.
Oh, well. I'm sure we'll get to that in a minute.
Oh, Jesus!
Oh, my head has fallen off.
Oh!
I probably should have healed before that happened, huh?
Maybe. I don't know. Sometimes you just gotta live life dangerously, you know?
You can take one more hit and definitely still have a head attached. So that's fine. We love that. You know what? I'll even use this green herb. Most of the time with these bugs, I am just trying to keep as few of them on screen as possible, because I know it
Yeah.
makes them more aggressive when you can see them.
Perceive it! Red herb.
Okay. So loads are gonna come out here. Which probably means it's the right place to be.
Enemies do usually mean that that is the location you want to be in.
Yeah, you know you're going the right way when lots of people are trying to kill you.
Yeah.
Good words to live by. I would love to press that switch, Mr. Leon. Mr. Leon S. Kennedy.
Press switch? Not flip or pull?
You press that one.
Press
That's a
that
press switch. It actually goes both ways.
Oh, I see. Yeah, just resolve this right now.
Felt like I could use a little space.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, excuse you. God.
Fuck! Kick me away from my treasure.
Well, that's the ground's treasure now.
And he tried to kick me off the edge.
Horrible, horrible, horrible.
Now, I don't want anyone to panic, but I don't know where I go. As is normal, I suppose.
Here?
Is this where I go or where I came from?
No, this is where you go.
Thanks, Kish.
You're welcome. I'm
Yeah.
helping.
Resident Evil 4 expert. Master of unlocking, Kish.
I have yet to almost become a quiche sandwich, though, so I'll just have to try harder, I guess.
I need you to move.
Dear
Fine.
God.
We don't have to do a big. We don't have to have a big argument about it, but I do need you to clear out of the way dead quick. I'm still trying to pick up the treasure, and I probably shouldn't be. Whoop.
Nah, be greedy.
Every time I see that kick prompt come up, I know if I don't hit, I get kicked. I want to be the kick.
Wait,
Oh,
is that where you
is
needed to
this
go?
Yeah. Fuck you!
He pushed you into the gate, though, at least. Oh.
This is a problem.
You have to press the switch, not.
You have to
Look
press
at
this.
it.
I know! You're fine. See? You're fine.
What'd that do?
Powerful question.
Did that just make more stompies happen? Oh god.
I think it made the middle one not
Yeah. Okay, I understand.
go. That makes love not getting smushed. Okay, that's the last section with us. I remember now.
Hey!
Oof.
Nicely done.
Always very tense when they're around, so I'm
Yeah.
sorry if I'm quiet. The scary boys.
Listen, you did great.
Yeah.
Friend!
Yeah. Like from Ada. Once a plaga egg hatches, it's nearly impossible to remove it from the body. But if it's before it hatches, then it can be neutralized by medication. If it does hatch, you might be able to get it out by surgery before it turns to an adult, but it won't be easy. There's a high chance you won't survive the operation. As far as I know, the girl was injected with the egg before you. Her time is ticking. You should prepare yourself for the worst case scenario. And then she kissed the paper and said, from Ada.
Thanks, Ada.
Welcome.
Appreciate it.
Got some rare.
Thank you, Ada.
What are you buying?
Hey, I'd like to upgrade the capacity on
Is
this.
that all, stranger? Thank you.
Exclusive!
Hey!
I really want it.
Do it.
What are you
I can't
selling?
afford it.
Oh, don't do it.
It's very expensive, but I want it.
Consider you might be able to
Is
after
that all?
selling all of this
Is that all?
garbage.
All the credit picked up from the books.
Yeah.
I'll buy it at a
Oh.
high price.
Well, I would assume
Come back.
the insignia going crown. Might have to wait a little bit.
Yes.
I don't want to have to wait either, but we might have to.
What are you buying?
Yeah, I don't have enough dollars.
Yeah, I guess.
Merchant, can you not do the upgrade for my gun?
Can we get a
And then
discount? We're like the
Yeah.
only person who buys things from you.
And we're saving the world. No one else even uses guns. He knows there's no one else around who uses guns, so there's no competition. He can charge whatever he wants.
Gouge. Horrible.
Yeah. Finding these priceless artifacts for him, and he's charging us like
Capitalism.
5 for it. Yeah.
Capitalism was the real enemy all along.
He is doing capitalism on us.
Horrible.
Oh.
Lol.
We could sway back the other way, please. Yeah.
Lol.
Whoops.
Oh.
There he goes. Hey guys. How you doing down there?
Still just hanging out. Having a good old time.
Let's go.
Oh.
You motherfucker.
Oh.
Okay. He wasn't a guy. I thought he was. Oh, I got 2 headshots with 1 bullet. But
Nice.
He was a Pedro. But then I got 2 headshots with 1 bullet again and killed him.
Miracle of 2 at once. Twice in a row, nonetheless.
Destroyed. Never stood a chance.
The miracle of two miracles at once.
The miracle of 2 miracles. What would you like for your miracle? I miracle for more miracles, please. You were Pedro too. You are running around a lot for someone without a head.
Sometimes you just gotta wiggle a little bit before you die, alright?
Nah.
Listen.
Pedro behavior. Where did he go? I want to walk into him because I don't want him in the blender. Look at his eyeballs.
I hate them.
I love his eyeballs.
It's like seeing gummies with the whole face already removed, and I don't like it. Is the thing.
It's a bold statement for sure. It's the no head, wiggling eyeballs kind of look.
I haven't consented to look at his gummies, and he's just out here with them all hanging out.
Going hog wild. I think you come back through that little trap door. Can't remember.
I don't know.
Let me just quickly. I don't think I have enough dollars still. It's fine. We'll get there.
One day.
I'm fine messing around, not getting nowhere.
I mean, you can mess around and not get anywhere. That's fine.
To offer sacrifices to the lion. Can I do that by jumping down a well? What if I really want to jump down the well?
Do it.
There's no jump down the well button, though.
Don't let the lack of mechanics stop you. Secret tunnel. Secret tunnel.
Secret Skulls Mausoleum. This is where they keep all of their skulls. Through the skull tunnel.
Can't break that jar.
No. I remember this room.
Yeah.
Well, we do have that sniper rifle that we like a lot. I think we might start hearing a chainsaw going after we've killed a few of them, though. Pedro.
Nice. Not an issue.
Oh yeah, never mind. Everything's fine. Oh, there he is. I saw you. I know you're in there. I know you're in there! Dr. Salvador! Okay, that's not Dr. Salvador, that's just a guy. Maybe you were just a guy.
It's just a man.
Maybe there is no Dr. Salvador. I don't even believe he's a real doctor. What did he get his doctorate in? Oh, there he is.
That's a lady, isn't it? That's one of the lady
PhD in
ones?
chainsaws. It could be. I thought they came together though. That's a problem. That's. You know what? He does look like he's wearing a different. I think he's having a problem. I think I won't climb that ladder.
Yeah.
I think I'm not gonna go up there. You gonna get back up, sir? I can hear your chainsaw running, so I know you're not dead. You know what? This works. I like this system that we've got going.
This is very good.
Still going. That chainsaw. Can he not get down? Why would he spawn there if he can't get down?
I wonder if he can normally, but you just like bugged it or something. I don't know.
Maybe
I don't know,
if you do
this,
it too
though.
soon, it's not ready. Yeah.
LOL! Don't step on those. Nicely done.
Kind of hard to get him with the knife because you can't see your feet, so you don't know how close you are. It'll save you a bullet every time you do it. Did hear the music come back on. Excuse me. I'm tempted to blow them up with a grenade.
Whoa!
Oh,
Sorry, I opened a thing. It's
you
fine.
went whoa?
Yeah. So I accidentally hit the spacebar and it opened up some stream element stuff in Discord. It's fine.
Can I get down any of these other skulls? I don't think I want to go down this skull.
Why have you done this?
So I can fight him. Yeah,
Wow.
you're right. I probably shouldn't have come down. Could have raised the ladder up there. That would have helped me out a lot. I like when they light themselves on fire. Goobers. Fuck! I think kick into. Whoa, that's a problem.
Jeez.
Oh,
Oh!
I shouldn't have jumped down, should I?
No, I think that was a bad idea.
It's a bad idea to jump down. Oh, you might not get stuck this time. Alright, next time we just shoot them all as they come up the ladder. Don't let them know we're here. Oh. Just 3? No. On Forest Arrow. Okay. Now then. You, Mr. Salvador. Mr. Dr. Professor Salvador. I'm doing it again. You can't stop me.
Yeah, it's fine.
We don't have to
I
do it. Then, if you don't
guess.
want.
No, do it.
Just once I've done this, and he's like quite mad,
Yeah.
and I don't know how to climb up the ladder without getting cut
Yeah.
into bits, into more bits than Leon's normally in. Oop. There is a guy over there. Fucking axe bastard! No. Okay. Stand up one more time, please. As long as the chainsaw's taking over, I know you're not dead. That chainsaw's tied to his heartbeat. That chainsaw motor, you see. There we go. I very nearly walked into that bear trap to celebrate my victory. That would have been a cool move for Leon. Okay, we got the key. We got the pesetas. Got the yellow herb. There's a door. You can just walk down instead of... Oh. You probably shouldn't, though. Probably shouldn't go down there. No! On the door! Ah!
Oh, jeez. You know what? I'm
Doing all
sure
the
it's gonna
bad
be
things.
fine, actually.
Yeah. I love the broken butterfly. Gonna need this situation to be less bad for a second. Yeah, that'll do. Wait! We're good. We're good. I've talked with Dr. Salvador. I think we've come to a mutually agreeable solution to our differences. That guy was tough. Oh, how long have you been there? You really hate being flashbanged?
Lord Sadler.
Hey, you can go down the stairs there, and it's even scarier, so do so at your own discretion. Be advised, scary place. This is a double Chainsaw Man house. 2 Dr. Salvadors living in the same skull house. I think we should wrap this up at the next save point we get to.
I mean, good.
Dr. Salvador. And his gay friend, Dr. Salvador.
2 dogs living in a skull house. 6 feet apart because they're not gay.
No. Hang on. There's just a problem in it. Hang on, let's just resolve this.
Yeah, make that not be an issue anymore.
Just get that part of it done with. Those guys got in 1 hit, so flashbangs. He's dead now.
Because they're bug boys.
Yeah, bugs hate the light.
Not the big bug boys.
There's just too much bug for just a little bit of light to get with those big, the big bug lads.
Yeah.
For 1 flashbang, it's just too much bug.
It's a little too rough for them to manage.
They hate it, but it doesn't. I think we're near the minecart bit. I did wonder how the castle transitioned into the minecart bit.
This is
but
how.
Yeah, it's the secret mine under the factory. Under the lava factory. Well, under the village there's a castle, and under the castle there's a secret lava factory. And under the secret lava factory there's a secret mine.
The villages have layers, is the thing.
Like Shrek.
Like Shrek.
Do I shoot?
Don't you have to get... Oh, never mind.
I do kind of miss Ashley's fist pumps, though. Sir, you have missed. I didn't do that. You did that to yourself.
Yeah, her little, like, her little cheers.
Yeah.
I want her to be the moral support that she wants to be without the escort aspect, is the thing. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh.
Okay, a few of those didn't miss.
Whoa!
None of you are Pedro, right? Better not be Pedro. He's Pedro.
Fucking hell.
Heck. Let me go to this one.
Ah!
Did I get him? He bloody did!
Yeah, he's not an issue anymore.
No. Oh god.
Ah!
It's fine, he's learning a valuable lesson about what happens when you jump at someone with fire grenades.
Okay, there is men's behind you too.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know, but I'm scared is the thing.
It's fine, they're busy lighting each other on fire. Oh, he's fine.
Ah!
I think he's still okay.
Yeah.
He has been having a rotten day, Dr. Salvador. Ah.
Ah! I am scared.
Not even a little.
I'm so very scared.
Who'd be scared?
Me. It is me.
I can't jump over because there's too much treasure.
At least it lets you collect the treasure from the other cart.
Oh, is she fine?
No, she's dead.
No, she's not fine. Is Dr. Salvador fine? I don't want Dr. Salvador to be fine.
He's taking a nap, is the thing. Oh, there's another one.
Which
He is in
train
the cart.
car?
I think
The
he's
one
in
with
yours.
me or the one? No, he's in the one.
in front of you. Okay.
That's
Oh.
he can go over there.
Oh.
Oh shit.
Oh.
Little bit of a miss there. I don't think that hurts him if they're laying down. It don't even make sense. Doesn't even make sense, Dr. Salvador.
Sir.
He did it.
Scared?
I'm always scared.
Is that your secret?
It's my secret. I'm always scared. Oh, I remember. Oh, where exactly would you say I'm aiming, game? Okay, it's impossible to hit anything while we're turning, so we'll get the old. Okay, even that apparently did not.
Huh. Oh.
I didn't realize that was happening just now,
Yeah.
and I was clicking to shoot that man, and then all of a sudden I was leaping through the air. And I remembered that happened. I didn't remember when that happened.
But hey, you did it, and you didn't die,
I also,
and good job.
I remember the Minecraft cat bit being kind of annoying, and I thought that was really fun.
Well, good. It could have been worse.
It's just very hectic, and the little planks keep coming, and the Dr.
Yeah.
Salvador's jumping the train, and it's very fun. I remember here. Where's Merchant? Okay, this is the opposite side.
Yeah.
I'm getting my upgrade.
Do it.
You're gonna love it.
Am I? Am I though?
Gonna love it.
Right.
Don't even make the numbers go up. Can't even see what it's doing. It's doing it. Merchant.
Like
Is
this
this
too
where you
far?
are?
No, it is. It
Me
is.
too.
There's this little hut.
I also felt like it was too far.
Yeah.
I recognize that funny little shack anywhere. I think we're finishing the chapter now, so I'll go do that and then
Sounds good.
we'll be looking for someone to raid into.
Is that old stranger?
We can do that.
Increases chance of critical headshots by 5 times. Now frequently, people's heads will explode when hit by that. Also, give me some more free magnum ammo, please. Also, I would really like this shot. The shotgun's amazing.
What are you selling?
The second shotgun, I don't think is an upgrade to the regular shotgun. The strike is even smaller than the regular shotgun. Does less damage, but the spread is just so big. How, you just can't argue with that.
Come back anytime.
I mean,
So,
you could.
I mean, I guess you can a little bit. And the exclusive upgrade for the striker is hilarious. It's just a really, really, really fun one to use, as well as being extremely good. I think I've ever fully upgraded the basic pistol before, and I'm quite excited to try it out.
It's already doing a lot of work, is the thing.
Yeah, it's good. There's no bad guns in this game. Like, none of the guns are not viable. Even the mine throw, if you're a crazy person, you can use that and it's good. You just have to use it and not blow up Ashley somehow. I'm not exactly sure how that's performed.
Hey!
Oh, quite a long stage.
Yeah.
Did it? Do we have? Are we back in the castle?
I think so.
Where are we ever? Okay, we'll save here so we don't have to walk down that, like, 4 steps of corridor again. And, do we have someone to raid into?
We do, I guess. There's not many people online right now, is the thing. But I do have Cauliflumps on, doing some Valheim. They're playing with Ghost Pepper.
Cauliflump's playing Valheim and Nick's playing Farming Simulator 22.
Oh, God.
So, let's go Valheim!
Let's go Valheim.
Yeah.
There's also one last hydrate from them, which I have been sipping my water this whole dang time. I'll do one little sip.
I'm gonna hydrate after I remember to send the raid message because I normally forget.
That's fair.
And I don't have any water right now.
How can you? Oh, hold on. Wait, hold on. Discord did that thing where I stopped watching stream and then it made me leave. But I'm back now. So
Did go boop and I was scared.
Yeah, no, it's because I stopped. I exited out of the big view.
That makes sense.
And then it was like, oh, haha, jokes.
You're saying it did the thing again?
I'm saying it did the thing again. Also, hi stars. Thank you for the
Hi
lurk
stars.
the whole time. And
Yeah.
listen, you are saying hello before the end of stream. We're still technically here. But yeah, we're gonna go do a raid on Cauliflumps, who's playing some Valheim with friend Ghost Peppers. Yeah, I think this next week I'm either gonna start one of the Resident Evil games. Or I might do Psychonauts too. We'll see. I've been thinking about both a lot lately. Is the thing. So we'll see what happens there.
Now I'm excited for both.
Yeah.
Or either.
It'll be a good time either way.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks Rudy as always for playing and hanging out.
Yeah, no problem.
And thanks friends for being here.
Bye, gang.